In the 100-Acre Wood, Christopher Robin had his fondest childhood moments, for this is where he played with so many friends. There's Rabbit, Owl, Kangaroo, Piglet, Eeyore, Tigger, and of course his best friend, Winnie the Pooh. These friends loved Christopher and they would do anything for him, so when their favorite friend grows up and needs their assistance, they are willing to do whatever it takes to help. Somehow, someway, these plush friends venture to save Christopher Robin, but how do they do this? Hello, I'm Isaac from Watson Videos, where we discuss fun topics for fun people. I'm all about spreading the magic of Disney, so to accomplish that today, I'm going to be inquiring on whether Winnie the Pooh and his 100-Acre Wood friends are alive or simply brought to life by Christopher's imagination. By the way, if you'd like to learn more about Christopher and his companions after the video, I provided all the links to the movies and the resources I used in the description. Although Christopher began his life a hopeful and carefree boy, after a number of tragedies in his life, he becomes a stern and tragic figure who must restore his ability to appreciate the fun of life before he loses his wife and daughter. Christopher spends the majority of the film reclaiming his imagination, but is he doing this because his mind is pulling him towards a life of optimism again with him imagining Pooh, or is Pooh actually coming to save him? After seeing Christopher Robin for the first time, I was baffled attempting to determine whether or not the denizens of the 100-Acre Wood were living, breathing, bouncing individuals, or just in the mind of Christopher himself. Although with Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, and Tigger out in the streets of our world, the simplicity of imagination seems to become a more and more difficult conclusion to draw. In previous stories where Christopher was a child, the answer always seemed easy to understand. Winnie the Pooh was simply a toy brought to life by the active imagination of a young boy.
Like most small boys, Christopher Robin has toy animals to play with, and they all live together in a wonderful world of make-believe.
Christopher Robin's toys originally only came to life for adventures with him because they were a part of his imagination. And this is what I believed was the explanation the film Christopher Robin was attempting to provide as well. Winnie the Pooh and friends seem to appear only when Christopher Robin unearths them from his subconscious. After witnessing one of his old drawings of Winnie the Pooh from years ago, that is the moment when Pooh awakens from his slumber, almost as if a piece of Christopher's imagination was beginning to awaken as well. Since Pooh is now remembered and Christopher's childhood was re-emerging in his life, Pooh ventured into the world. It seems improbable Winnie the Pooh would be able to find Christopher Robin in all of London, but if Pooh was a mixture between a plush and a figment of imagination, then of course the bear would appear where Christopher needed him.
Pooh? Christopher Robin.
Oh, stress.
It's not stress.
God, I'm stressed.
It's Pooh.
I think Christopher seeing the drawing of Pooh brought the bear to him, and I think kind of the opposite statement is true too. By only seeing Pooh in that drawing, that may have contributed to why Pooh couldn't find any of his friends.
Anybody here? Can anybody hear me?
If the 100-Acre Wood is created in Christopher's imagination, then the only people and things that exist are those things that he thinks of and remembers. The idea of exploring childhood to bring about beloved friends of the past is proven again when Christopher rejects Pooh and rediscovers the rest of his companions. When Christopher Robin dismisses Pooh out of frustration, he no longer can find his friend. The heavy, joyless heart of Christopher may have just left him unable to imagine his best friend. A little later on, after finding the bridge he used to walk over in his youth and reflecting on his childhood, that is only when Eeyore appears before him. And only when he is able to commit to the persona of Christopher Robin by investigating Owl's home and vanquishing a Heffalump is he able to find and befriend the remainder of his pals. Possessing happiness and childhood delight seems to be tied to whether Christopher can find his friends.
We missed you.
Well, I've missed you too. All of you. Very much.
And Madeline actually has a very similar experience to Christopher when she meets Pooh, Piglet, Tigger, and Eeyore. After her mother tells her to go and play, to let loose and get dirty, she begins to make believe. Once she likely found the stuffed animals and papers in the woods, because she is finally given the freedom to play, that is the moment she is able to hear what they have to say.
You're the bear in my father's drawings.
Winnie the Pooh. Pooh for short.
Christopher's childhood friends seem to be imagined to be alive, and so is the 100 Acre Wood itself, since it seems to be tied to the emotions of Christopher Robin. When Christopher's childhood is distant from him and feels confused and sad, the 100 Acre Wood is dark, cloudy, and mysterious. That atmosphere continues from when Pooh first wakes up till Christopher awakens from his nightmare, ready to search for Pooh and his friends. The more fun Christopher has, the brighter the 100 Acre Wood becomes.
It's always a sunny day when Christopher Robin comes to play.
Every aspect of Pooh and Friends seems to be shaped by the imagination of people like Christopher Robin. While he imagined to see a lively, talking, and moving friend, I don't think others see the same things as Christopher. Sure, a man bumped into a pole after seeing Christopher and Pooh, and a woman stared at them from outside a phone booth, but that could just be because a grown man was speaking to a teddy bear. Other times when Pooh speaks outright, no one even reacts to him, like when Pooh talks to the balloon sellers and the little boy who steals him, suggesting those words are only perceived by Christopher Robin himself. Although in many instances, the residents of the 100 Acre Wood are completely ignored for what they say and do, there are a few instances where they are heard by people. People who we don't know to have wild imaginations or who are close to their childhood. They are just normal individuals. Christopher's neighbor hears Pooh through Christopher's jacket.
Did you hear my voice there? Wait, here.
The cab driver is free to hear Tigger.
Follow that Tigger!
The officer and the newspaper salesman are in denial when they hear Pooh.
Thank you, Orifice.
Right.
What a nice
There's
man.
my cabbie's license. You don't believe me? That is...
And Evelyn is shocked to hear her husband Toys chat with her.
You must be Christopher Robin's wife. Ha! How do you do?
My bum hurts.
From everything I had examined so far, what I really thought the answer was going to be was that Pooh just seemed to be an inanimate object. But now that they are seen and heard in the story, the truth behind if they are real or not becomes much more complicated. If Christopher's friends are actually heard and seen moving by other people, then that means that they really are alive and exist in a magical land.
You'll find the enchanted
Maybe Winnie the Pooh and all of the members of the 100 Acre Wood are fueled by a magic that connects them with Christopher Robin. That would explain how members of the Wood awaken in correspondence with Christopher's childhood, how Pooh is transported to London, and how they can interact with the real world. They could be real, living friends who live in a land where childhood wonder can thrive, and who work to watch over and help Christopher Robin in any way they can. I suppose those 100 Acre Wood friends could be alive, and maybe there is some type of magic at play, but that is never really explored or brought up in this film. A lot of extra explanation and complications seem to needlessly arise from Winnie the Pooh actually existing, especially since the contradiction exists that some people hear Pooh and some don't. Maybe there is a different explanation for why a few people reacted to the inanimate plush toy. Perhaps while imagining those stuffed animals were alive, Christopher and Madeline also both imagined others hearing and reacting to their friends speaking. Maybe these people didn't really hear them speak, but instead from the perspective of Christopher Robin, they seemed to react to what he was make-believing. I am under the belief Christopher and Madeline got to a point with their imagination where they believed their make-believe adventures were having an impact on their world. In the Christopher Robin film, Winnie the Pooh and his friends at times seem to be speaking, walking, and bouncing around. Although they may seem to be alive because people react to what they do and say, I don't think those moments really happened, but were perceived to occur by the imagination of Christopher and Madeline. They believed with their whole hearts their plush friends were conscious and alive, but it wasn't always like that. In the complicated and depressing world Christopher Robin lived in, he lost his childhood joy. But I don't think his friends came to him to help because they were infused with magic. Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Tigger, Eeyore, and all of Christopher's friends appear to come to life when people see the world as filled with whimsy, games, fun, and honey. I think by Christopher Robin reconnecting with his childhood, he created his own magic through his imagination. Hello fun people, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I really couldn't wait to get to discuss my thoughts on this question ever since I saw Christopher Robin, and I'm excited for the videos I have planned in the coming weeks. It's just a really crazy time for movies and Disney, and I'm super excited. But until then, it's now time for the question of the day, sponsored by my patrons. To become a patron yourself, check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/WatsoVideos. Do you think Winnie the Pooh is alive or imagined in Christopher Robin? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section, along with any other ideas you have for future Discovering Disney episodes. If you enjoyed discussing Winnie the Pooh, then click that like button, and if you are interested in staying up to date with more magical Christopher Robin videos, then click that subscribe button, and please follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you'd like to see more Watso videos, then check out some awesome pics over here, and as always, thanks for watching and have a magical day.